Hi, I'm Tim,
Hi, I'm Ryan.
and this is Drink Game Drunk Cast, where we talk about games and things that happen in games and get drunk while doing it.
The world really needed more podcasts.
Well, we are the first and last voice in podcasting.
And gaming.
All right, so tonight this is our first and probably only podcast that we will ever do.
We Googled how to make a podcast.
And we watched about an hour of videos just to get here.
Gonna cut that out now.
That's a cat that doesn't have a name, and you've owned him how long?
A year and a half.
That's awesome.
Maybe more.
Year and a half and still no name.
And he doesn't deserve it.
So, starting off this podcast, I'd like to go ahead and tell you a little bit about really what it is. And honestly, when this is broken down, it's the interpretive dance of video game podcasting.
Oh yeah, I forgot we were making that our mission statement.
That is a good mission statement. So, a little bit about who we are. I'm a 30-year-old man baby.
I think I'm 23 now.
So,
probably.
Collectively, we have probably 40 years in gaming, which is more than any other duo of podcast people.
I got nothing. That's just good. That's just science.
Yeah, that's just hard science behind it. And so we really just want to talk a little bit about our history in gaming, really. Where we started, where we're at, and every little thing in between that. And so I'll start off with, I got my NES 1988 Christmas morning. I was 4 years old. Just a wee little lad. And I remember opening the box and really having no concept of what gaming is, because at 4, basically your concept is, I like to poop on things.
I mean, who doesn't now?
Yeah, seriously. I still do it sometimes.
That Cleveland Steamer is really good.
So I opened this box, and it's the standard NES console system that comes with a light gun, Duck Hunt, Mario Brothers. You know? And really, the first game that really got into is Duck Hunt, because it's interactive. It has this wonderful ability to just put you in the game, and that's not something you understood as a 4-year-old, to be involved in something that is essentially a now digital medium. And
well, I mean, back then too, that Duck Hunt and stuff like that with a light gun was pretty revolutionary for the time.
Well, I'd like to go ahead and say that's still revolutionary. It's an amazing technology. It's never used. I think the last time I honestly ever had a light gun game was probably Dreamcast Silent Scope. Yeah, I think that's honestly the last light gun game I played.
Pretty sure at the shops today we saw like 40 versions of Super Scope 6.
Yeah, you have Super Scope 666.
666.
I'm already losing my tongue because we've been drinking for a while. And
not enough.
Well, you of course you have the Genesis version, which is the Menacer. Their gun I thought was much cooler. It looked cooler. It was actually menacing. It was a terrifying device. The only way you can make it more dangerous is if you just put spikes on it. If it were like a Mad Max version. And, the Super Scope was just like this clean gray gun. Because every peripheral for the Nintendo was gray. It was just gray. And everything you got for the Genesis was just black. And it had this red dot on it. And, we're getting off on, peripherals, which none of us really are too big about.
No, it depends on the peripheral, like what one's supposed to use it for.
Yeah, peripherals are really a thing of the past. But yeah, getting back to Duck Hunt, it was a really simple game. It took a real world activity, duck hunting, which is widely popular, especially us being in Texas.
A little more popular.
Yeah, it's pretty popular here. It's everywhere. And, I was raised in that culture. So, even at that early age, I understood the concept of guns and that my uncles and my aunts went out to do it. So, it was this very surreal experience. Even at an early age, it's that understanding that you're taking a real world activity, but you're applying game mechanics. And you're also giving player input. And those are two things that are still deeply embedded in gaming. player input. Player input is insanely popular. How a player interacts and responds to the world that's created, and having that so young, it really ruins you for life. You're just if you get an NES at 4, you're a nerd for life. That's just what you are.
Well, the state of gaming has completely changed compared to what it was 20 years ago.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's changed very slowly. Because of course, you had the Atari Fallout crash. And I want to just go ahead and say that E.T. was not the cause of that.
No.
It was tens of companies pushing out shovelware over and over again. E.T. is actually, for its time, a competent game. It's bad, but it's not the thing that killed the industry.
I don't know if I call it competent.
It had player agency. You had choice. You had interest. You had options. You had options in the game.
You had no idea what was going on.
No,
like you had agency, but what can you? Like, what does it matter if you have agency if you have no clue what to do?
Yeah. I mean, you just move from screen to screen because, of course, parallax scrolling didn't come around until the 16-bit era. I mean, basically, there were ways to mimic it in the 8-bit era, but of course, the Atari itself. That couldn't be done. So you moved from screen to screen where you
fall in a hole and die.
Yeah, and that's just it.
It's life. It's a parallel, actually. So really, it's the greatest game of all time.
Oh, one of life's lessons. If you fall down a hole, you're dead.
Run that timer out.
So let's just go ahead and take a second. What are you drinking tonight?
It's seltzer water, vodka, and Tang drops.
That's what I hear. Scientists and astronauts got together to make that drink specifically.
Apparently, Tang is a thing.
It is.
I found out about it because of the most recent episode of Archer.
It is a kick in the glass.
Pretty nice, actually. It's orange.
Orange. You can't go wrong with orange. So, anywho, as I was saying, is the first thing you play as a child, I think, kind of really develops the games you play through the rest of your life. And of course, Mario Brothers being a platformer, that's really like my wheelhouse and has always been my wheelhouse. And of course, we were never really well off enough to buy games. So I remember taking constant and continuous visits to Blockbuster, or since I lived in a small town, the local shop up the street. I'd get on my bike. I'd get on my bike every day, and I would ride up to the store, and being friends with the owners of the store, they would just hand me games, and I'd take them home. They'd be random games. And
sounds nice.
For that period, I developed a real strong emotional connection to Blaster Master. Or Master Blaster. I always get that confused. Real simple game. And I won't get into the details of it, but it's the NES era. Growing up in that, I know you're a few years my junior here, but it was a wonderful time to grow up in, because not only did you have the NES, you had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You had freaking Turtles, and you of course G.I. Joe, and it was just a wonderful era to grow up in. And of course, I didn't own an SNES until the SNES generation actually ended. I went over to a friend's house almost every single day and played games, of course, like Super Mario World, Yoshi's Island.
That's a good one.
That's one of the greatest games of all time.
That's one of my favorites.
It's cute. Its mechanics are great. It introduces a new character to the world that.
Well, it's not so much a new character as it is
new mechanics that the character never had.
That nobody's had before, and an art style really nobody's done before that.
That the art style in that game, the aesthetics of it hold up to today's standards.
They do,
artistically.
The biggest problem I see with the new Yoshi's Island is it doesn't have the same art style or gameplay.
Yeah, I haven't even had a chance to play the new one. The Club Nintendo's ending, and they just recently released the Platinum and the Gold Rewards. It's one of them, and it's probably the game I'm going to get. I don't think it's actually a Platinum game. I'm a Platinum member, but I think it's a Gold game. But
you should have access to that, though.
Yeah, it's the game I want, because I already have Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, which amazing. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I don't really know what else to get. Uh, it's just I've heard so many bad things about it due to the fact that Yoshi's Island itself is already kind of a contentious game. It has its people who will fight to the death that it's one of the best Mario games of all time. But then you also have the people who think it's probably one of the worst.
Definitely not. I haven't heard anybody call it the worst. I couldn't see a reason why.
It's just so cute.
It's just as cute as like Kirby's Epic Yarn is up there too.
Yeah,
on the scale of cuteness.
Absolutely, and especially with like Nintendo's new line coming out. I mean, Yoshi's Woolly World, right? Yeah, that game just looks gorgeous. Just the style, and it feels like a Yoshi game.
Well, yeah, it feels like Yoshi, but then we're going back to Yarn, apparently.
Yeah.
Which is cool, because apparently there's something about yarn and textiles that make everything better and cuter.
Well, denim's just not fun to program, apparently. It's not a fabric. No. It's not a fabric they really look at, I don't think.
Not with the mining industry.
No. And, of course, from the SNES era, I had Genesis. I was the dumb Genesis kid on the block. Nobody owned a Genesis. Everybody owned a Super Nintendo.
No, we never had anything other than Nintendo in my house.
Yeah.
Just because we couldn't afford another console, so like we stuck with what we knew.
Yeah, you absolutely stuck with what you knew. But on top of that, generally how families afforded that new console was selling off everything that was old. So when you got an SNES, you sold off everything that was NES. And, of course, when you moved from the SNES to the N64, you sold off the SNES, which is, in hindsight, probably the worst decision you can make, trading in an SNES for a little value on the N64.
Well, I don't know if we ever traded it in.
Yeah.
I think we kept ours. I don't know which version of the Super Nintendo I have.
Yeah.
Like, which one that I own, if it was our original or if it was some other one I found somewhere.
Right? Oh, I found this on the side of the street, because there was a period where you could go to any flea market, you could go to any thrift store, and you could find just stacks of SNESs.
I think you still can half the time.
They're just way more expensive now.
A little bit. They're not that bad. But I mean, you can always buy an emulator.
Of course.
That emulates like 5 different things at once.
Which we tried to do today.
With the Retron 5.
Yeah, which didn't work too well. I mean, aside from the fact of it just not absolutely turning on, we actually broke it down and looked at the internals.
We don't know what's happening
there. There should be no reason why this device is not turning on. There's no blown circuitry inside the
that I can see.
Yeah, that you can see.
There's no caps in it either, which is really odd. Like, it just takes a 5-volt 10 amp 2 amp power supply?
Yeah.
There's no actual power supply in it. It just runs off wall power.
Yeah.
Whatever the transformer puts it through, it just
well,
does that.
I mean, basically, it's a board. It's a PCB with just basically. I mean, we were talking about this earlier. It's just a Raspberry Pi.
It is, yeah. No, it really is just a Raspberry Pi.
Yeah. And, I mean, emulation, I imagine, does not require very much actual power to the board to do much with.
Not physical power, not like raw wattage. Hold on. Ladies and gentlemen.
Give us a second. The cat is being a cat, as cats oft do.
How do they often walk?
Playing with a plastic sack, because that's clearly the most interesting thing in the room while recording a podcast.
Well, I mean, we went a good 10 minutes with
without
the cat
being cat.
Feline interference is rampant in these parts.
They're wild. They're everywhere. Much like Mr. Wilson's house in Dennis the Menace.
You could give 5 across the ass.
That game is so weird, but that is entirely beside the point. Shout
out to Game Grumps.
So tell me a little bit about your history with gaming. Like, tell me what you started with and where it kind of all went.
I mean, the earliest thing I can recall is the Super Nintendo. I believe Super Nintendo came out around 1992, right?
Yeah, about there.
So right after I was born, right around there, my parents, I think, sold the original NES that they had and bought Super Nintendo. And all we had for a long time was just Super Mario World, which I think the console came with.
Yeah.
And they just play that. That was it. And that's what I grew up with and kind of got into it, kind of didn't. It was never a game I beat. And to this day, I've never beaten.
Do you still go back and play it?
Not recently. I'd like to go back
Yeah.
and play it, but I'd probably try to buy an emulator or something I can play it on my TV.
Right.
So it's a fun game. It still holds up.
Absolutely.
It's still fun. But it's something I should probably go back and play. It's just I don't have the time currently.
Right.
To try to invest in all these different games that I'm trying to go through.
Yeah.
So I went through that phase of Super Nintendo era stuff. And we eventually, like a number of years later, when the N64 started coming out, we put one on layaway and got into the N64. And the only game we had for a long time that we borrowed and kind of never returned was Ocarina of Time, which I still have.
That was a going trend back then when there were actually video stores. There were just things that you borrowed forever.
What was like some kind of family friends that we borrowed from?
So this wasn't even a rental store.
They weren't even family friends. They were family acquaintances.
Then it's cool to take their games. They're not going to know.
I mean, they lived in a trailer, whatever.
Not to disparage people who live in trailers at all.
Clearly, they did not want.
Yeah, like I lived in a trailer 10 years of my life, and we are trailer folk. It's okay.
Trailer folk.
No, there is definitely a different culture. Like if you live like in a trailer complex, there's definitely a different culture and vibe that goes on inside there. There's a lot of internal trading. Like I'll take your Super Mario World for these 3 rat pelts that I just shot.
Give this raccoon pelt for you.
It was really a barter system inside the trailer park.
Well, and then you have that close proximity with each other.
Yeah.
In the thin walls, and you're
hear
right there.
Everything.
And it's just like, we gotta be friendly.
Yeah, we know all the dirty laundry. We have to be okay.
It's hanging right there.
Yeah, it's hanging right there, and it's super dirty.
Like,
stains
really,
everywhere.
you should have cleaned it before you hung it up. That's not how you do laundry.
That is not hygienic whatsoever. But hey, when you barely have running water, you make do.
I got nothing.
That's really where it ends. You can't really poke fun at that lifestyle too much because too many people live it.
I mean, I like water.
Water is great. Water and heat, central air. I can, as a 30-year-old man with an adult job with baby hobbies, I really cannot live without central air. Especially in West Texas where I'm from, you cannot live without central air. Every like spring to summer, you hear all these stories of like coming from like, Long Island and New York of people just outright dying, like because they don't have central air, because most of the year they don't need it. But yet they've had lots of heat spikes in the past few years, and you just hear of people just like keeling over when the simplest solution
like
was
a
like
heat stroke.
Yeah, when the simplest solution is like get a window unit.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like a lot of places like Japan get really hot, and they don't have central air.
Same thing in like pretty much the entirety and breadth of the United Kingdom, what I've heard.
Yeah.
I'm not a very cultured person. I haven't traveled outside of the United States, except for one jaunt into Canada and a few into Mexico.
It was an accident.
But that's North America, so you can't really, say you've traveled much outside of that.
I did have a friend actually accidentally drive into Canada. They were up near the Niagara Falls doing a convention just like a few days ago.
Whoops, I'm in Canada.
He posted on Facebook, he like accidentally drove into Canada. Not April Fool's.
Accidentally drove into Canada. Stuck here forever.
Yeah.
P.S. Love mom.
Yeah, so they drove into Canada on accident. And like we're 50 miles into Canada.
How long ago was this?
It was April Fool's Day.
Oh, just a few days ago.
Yeah.
I was like, if that happens now, they get shot. But apparently Canada's much cooler.
No, they drove through Canada somehow.
Yeah.
And they got there and they were like, well, there's the falls. Shit, I'm on the wrong side.
So that actually brings us to the next great topic, falling. We're just going to talk about Nintendo in general.
Okay, so what did they do now? Because I keep hearing you say and hint, and I don't.
And I've been wanting to talk about this all day, but I wanted to save it for this first anniversary of our first inaugural podcast.
Can't have a first anniversary of a first podcast.
You absolutely can. We are celebrating it. Popping streamers over here. Whee! But no, Nintendo. There's a lot wrong with Nintendo. There's a lot of great. I mean, we are both Wii U owners.
Get to the amiibos. What's wrong with the amiibos that I don't care about?
So the problem with amiibos is that the first wave there wasn't much talk. The first wave had things like Marth, Villager,
Samus, Pikachu, I believe.
Yeah, and it seems like there's a tiered system because Nintendo is one of the few companies that still believes in having store exclusives, because they've had store exclusives ever since the release of the SNES. There were only games you could find. There was only things you could find in Toys R Us or back then in Electronics Boutique. Now GameStop.
Was Electronics Boutique to EB Games to GameStop?
Right.
But still EB Games in other places.
Right. I think there are still EB Games in Canada.
I think Australia as well.
Yeah.
EB Games.
But yeah, Nintendo still keeps this dead dream alive that store exclusives are necessary. I can only assume this is to keep relations with those companies good, because Nintendo is still vying for shelf space, because if you haven't noticed over the years, their shelf space is dwindling.
I've seen everything get smaller and smaller. Like, you have this tiny sliver of 3DS section, and just
take that into account from just the last generation. You look at like the DS section was huge back just years ago.
Well, the DS has been around for quite a long time now.
Well, yeah, I mean, how many iterations did that have? The DS, DSi,
it was
DS Lite,
the regular DS, the Fat, which came out like right after I got into middle school. So it's been out for quite a long time.
Yeah.
And then the Lite and so on and so forth up to the new 3DS.
Right. And I mean, you had the DSi, which I think 2-3 games were even made for the DSi.
Well, the DSi itself wasn't really a new 3D or a new DS,
but it was more powerful. It had a more powerful chip.
It was kind of like with the new 3DS, where it's slightly more powerful, but they didn't do anything with it. They didn't make new games for it,
right?
Like with Monster Hunter.
Well, no, Monster Hunter you can still play with the old.
What was the Xenoblade? Sorry,
yeah, Xenoblade. I think right now is Xenoblade Chronicles, which excellent Wii title, by the way. I haven't. Okay, I will admit that it's an excellent game, but I have only played about 4 to 5 hours of it. I mean, this is a game that spans, I think, 60 to 100 hours. But the 6 hours I played, I sure did enjoy. But as a 30-year-old man baby, as previously stated, I can't do RPGs that kind of devalue my time in as much as modern JRPGs do.
The last RPG I played like that was Tales of Symphonia.
That's what, a 30, 35?
No, it's 65 hours.
No, really?
It's 65 hours. They did it on X-Play.
Yeah.
When X-Play was a thing, when Tech TV was a thing.
See, games can't do that anymore. I don't think they can. I don't think games can get by with 60 hours.
But they do.
But the problem is, they have what? Honestly, if you do the main quest and a little bit of optional grinding, they're 15 to 20 hours, and the rest are side quests.
I'm playing Borderlands. And the Borderlands 2.
Right. But
the first playthrough to get, halfway to your level, your max level, is still like 30 hours.
Right. But that's a fun feedback loop, though. That's you getting engaged in combat, fighting, like Bungie said. Bungie kind of created this feedback loop. I mean, it existed before it, but they kind of gave it a name. It's the 30 seconds of fun. It's get a player engaged in combat, and take the enemy down, grunts, brutes, yada yada, and they have their symphonic music come in, and Marty O'Donnell, of course, a great composer. You have the music chime in, and you have this great cinematic experience, and then it fades out once you're done, and those little battles are constant. It's a feedback loop of investment and reward, and Borderlands does that exceptionally well. Guns are falling all over the damn place. They're falling out of every orifice possible.
Yeah. Well, then you have like the badass ranks, which it's like, which of these 300 different things do you want to try to do right now?
Right.
It's like, where are you? You can do something in this area they're in, or you can find a specific enemy to do something to.
In as much as I love the Borderlands games, their quest system needs to be better.
The quest system's decent.
It takes too many click-throughs to get to it.
It's tab, and it's the farthest on the
Way
left.
too many for me.
One click, no.
Yeah,
no clicks. Needs to be there.
Well, if you have the input of a keyboard, it should just be one keystroke. Does it even have?
Probably.
It probably does. But I'm a really bad PC gamer. I'm a console gamer. You're the PC guy.
I'm sorry, but if you're playing it on Xbox, it's the same thing. You have to hit start and then move all the way to the left.
But I'm not going to play it on the Xbox because the Xbox is boring.
Fine, PlayStation 4, it's literally the same thing.
Yeah. Well, there has there actually what is the thing, the Handsome Jack collection, did it actually come out on the PS4 and the Xbox One, or is that still old gen or last gen?
Is that for the pre-sequel?
No, the pre-sequel is only on, or was only on the PS3 and the Xbox 360.
It's definitely on PC.
Yeah, it definitely was, but I don't know if the Handsome Jack collection is actually for the PS4. I mean,
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Other than Bloodborne, I haven't really paid attention to modern like the past few weeks releases. And I know the Handsome Jack collection was really recent. And I honestly don't know if it was on the PS4, so I can't speak to that. But
I can't see 2K putting out just an expansion for just the PS4.
Yeah.
Because everything's been all over.
Yeah.
It's been on each console.
Yeah. It absolutely has. It seems like the Borderlands and the remasters of said Borderland games are just something this generation of new consoles that are now current consoles, because there's always that debate, like, how long do you call it next gen before it's just current gen?
They're current gen now. They've been out for a year.
The minute they come out, they're current gen. Like
they're technically last gen.
Yeah, because that disobeys the rule of words. Like, you can't call something next gen if it's current now.
It can't currently exist.
Disobeys the laws of linguistics and science and rationality.
Physics. It's got to be physics. Just throw
physics. Yes.
Just relatively whatever.
Right, but getting into that, you're not much of a console gamer. You have the Wii U, of course, and I have the PS4.
I have a Super Nintendo. There's an
so current,
GameCube, but as far as current stuff goes, all I have is the Wii U.
Yeah, you tape 40, 600 SNESs together, you have modern power right there. It's like cell processing. If you tape enough of it together, it'll work.
It's a render farm. I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do.
SETI, I'm finding aliens. Yeah, you can basically run that program off of 60, 70 SNESs taped together.
Really don't think you can.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can.
Got that sweet power draw. $4,000 bill.
Well, I mean, it's better than digging for bitcoins. I mean, it's a better service of your time.
That really depends on if I'm paying for electricity or not.
You're
mine all day.
You're reaching that, man.
I don't even have a 7970. If I had a few of those, I'd probably throw one in an old PC and mine all day.
But talking about remasters, I mean, you aren't as aware of this as I am, owning the PS4 and the Xbox One. There's kind of a problem with a glut of games on these consoles, but not games that particularly anybody wants to play, it seems. Devil May Cry, which is already kind of a reboot of the Devil May Cry series that was released on the PS3 and the 360.
Wait. They rebooted?
No. It's the initial reboot of the Devil May Cry. Because, Dante used to be a kind of whitish, gray-haired, red coat wearing badass.
Is he not that now?
No, he is now a young, black-haired teenager with rebel without a cause attitude.
I thought they did that for the third or fourth game.
No. There's Devil May Cry 4, which I believe is the last numbered sequel, and then there's Devil May Cry, which is the reboot of the entire series.
So they retconned it.
I don't know if it's necessarily retconned. It's just a reimagining. When you say reimagining, you don't have to say the word retcon, because that carries a negative connotation.
Yeah, because they got rid of everything else.
That they've built.
Everything else has been negated,
Yeah.
and now you have this new canon.
I'd love to see Nintendo reboot the Mario franchise as he's this rough and tumbling, like, machismo plumber who's like, yeah, my butt crack's showing. What?
That's why he wears the overalls.
Yeah. Well, because he's a proper gentleman.
So, like, a rough and tumbled, gritty Mario game.
Yeah, or as like a lot of gaming fans these days like to call these things, a mature Mario.
See, that's what I hate about everything. Like, everything's got to be mature now. And then you have, like, on the Wii U, you have Splatoon coming out. And I'm like, I want to play that.
I want to play the hell out of Splatoon. I want to turn into an octopus and swim through paint.
That's awesome.
With the way this game looks,
it's so cathartic.
Did you watch any of the Treehouse after the direct?
Just a few minutes.
That game not only appeals to me on an aesthetic level, and it's cutesy Nintendo vibe that Nintendo has always done so perfectly.
Yeah.
It appeals to me on that this might be the game that kind of lets people look at shooters in a different way. That they don't have to be ultra violent deathscapes. And not everything has to be gray.
Gray and brown.
Yeah.
With chest-high walls.
Yeah.
Thanks, Gears of War.
Yeah, like even with next gen, or current gen, the palettes are still that. They're still...
That's why I've been stuck on Borderlands.
It's so colorful.
It's so bright and colorful. Like, I can't do...
When you kill an enemy, you might as well have those poppers that go off. It's like streamers everywhere.
Because you have that one mission in Borderlands 2 where you find some dude and his name is Shooty McShootyface. And the mission is shoot Shooty McShootyface in the face.
How many times did you shoot Shooty McShootface in the face?
You just shoot him once.
Just once. You can't shoot him more than once.
No, unfortunately not.
I think that goes against the ethos of that mission.
Everything's wrong. Can't do this.
But
I'm not feeling it.
Yeah, but like Splatoon, I mean, we've had years and years and years of the industry as a whole attempting to move towards this almost TV drama level. Yeah, it's like every game is attempting to either be the Shield or
I've never even watched the Shield.
Well, it's good, but it has that
good enough.
It's that cop grittiness, that everybody desires, and like modern games, like especially if they're going that gritty route that seems so pervasive in gaming now. It seems like they're trying to be like an HBO miniseries.
Yeah, I can see that because you have like the whole Assassin's Creed series, which has gone way too long, kind of like Dexter.
Yeah,
if I understand it right, like I never really got to watch Dexter. From what I understand, like Dexter kind of went on a little too long than it should have.
I hear it went on a lot of too long.
Yeah, and so did House. Really, like
Right.
House didn't have any business being on as long as it was. And I know you hate House just because of the character.
The problem with House is that when you boil it down, every episode is. And I'm using this literally. It is literally the same episode over and over again. It's House. House's nonchalant behavior gets him in some hijinks, like it's a Scooby-Doo mystery of the week. And zoinks! If only we had known it was Mr. Robertson. But the thing is, every week it's literally the same thing. He pops some pills or does some drugs or goes by some prostitutes and bring them into the hospital. And yes, despite hating it, it's pretty obvious that I've watched a few episodes. I did have an ex who absolutely loved this show, but
I kind of like the show.
Well, you're a horrible human being, but that's a separate topic.
We'll get to that
coming
later.
Up on podcast 2. Why Ryan is a terrible human being.
See, all the reasons,
every single one of them. But it's formulaic and
yeah, that's why I like it.
The problem
when I watch TV, I want to tune out. I want to tune out.
I want to be engaged because
sometimes
it's my time.
I want to be engaged, but like I have Breaking Bad for that. And I know some people don't like Breaking Bad.
Who doesn't like
whatever
Breaking
shitty
Bad?
Reason they don't have.
I've never met a human being who dislikes Breaking Bad.
They weren't human.
Because the truth is, everybody at the end of the day just really either loves meth or wants to do meth. Yeah, that's the truth. That's
like Bryan Cranston.
That's the human condition.
I want to be him or I want to do him.
Every philosopher I've ever read, from Descartes to what is it? Carl Jung, I believe is the proper pronunciation. Yeah. From every philosopher I've ever read, I mean, their underlying core is that they want to do math. I mean, it's true.
I mean, who doesn't?
but back to House.
Have you not?
House is the formulaic Fox dramedy. Let's call it a dramedy because it is. Because
it does have some funny moments.
It's black humor that's been injected from British.
I mean,
yeah,
he's going to throw his spin on everything. But
what's his name?
The show is formulaic, yes. It doesn't matter.
And Backstrom itself is a Fox show, isn't it?
Yeah.
Exactly. It's the same formula. I mean, granted...
Dramedy, I love it.
Give me more.
I like mindless shows.
You know, I think the last kind of like throwaway show that I really enjoyed like that was probably, what was it? Psych.
I think I've seen a few episodes.
It's a throwaway show. It's something you tune in, tune out.
It's
turn
prime time, like cop drama.
Yeah, and it's just there's so much bad with House. All the bad is in House.
There's some good in House.
Like, okay, a show is usually deemed great by its secondary cast. It does.
You mean the one they changed in House?
It has no secondary cast. Like, you have Omar Epps' character, who is 1 week like your stereotypical hard-edged kid who rose up through the rungs and got a medical degree, and that's an amazing story to tell. But they never tell it.
Which one is that guy?
He's the African American in the show.
He's a black guy. Good.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, exactly. And you know,
what's his name? Mario. Is he a plumber?
Is it Mario?
I don't know.
I don't know the character's name. I just know Omar Epps because he's actually a pretty good actor.
Wait, did you say Omar?
Omar Epps is his name.
God, I don't know English apparently.
Cut
the cast. We're done. Can't do it anymore.
No, but like. And we're back.
Are we?
We kind of are. I pressed pause and then I hit unpause. So I'm assuming we're here now, in the moment. We're not going to worry about the last few minutes of this. We're just going to keep marching forward like a Dave Matthews song.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well,
no more tangents. No more tangents.
It was
back on to whatever we were on.
It was the only reference I had. I'm sorry. So we were talking about Splatoon. And we're talking about how it has the Nintendo charm versus the gray palettes of the modern shooter. I mean, there are games that do break away from that. Of course, Halo is a fairly vibrant world. You know, it has lush jungle worlds and stuff. But getting on Splatoon and talking about the Nintendo Direct, because our initial topic was, of course, Amiibo, and we'll get to that in a second. But I just want to talk about Splatoon for a second. Splatoon just it looks fun, and there's nothing wrong with the game just being fun. I think as a gaming culture, and I don't identify as a gamer because I that's weird. That's weird terminology to me. Despite the fact of playing games for, let me see, I'm 30 now, so 26 years, pretty much nonstop. It's a weird term to identify as.
Well, that, and you think gamer, and you could mean anything. It'd be card games, video games, board games,
yeah,
tabletop.
Yeah.
I mean, what does gamer even entail?
Yeah, I mean, to have any discussion on that, you really have to define what it is. And I'm not interested in vernacular here. I'm not interested.
Really not waxing philosophical.
Yeah, we're not getting into the nitty gritty here. I mean, that's not really what we want this to be. We just want it to be fun. We like Splatoon. We are the Splatoon of podcasting.
No, we're the interpretive dance.
We are the interpretive dance podcast based on the movie Airplane.
Based on the novel Pushed by Sapphire.
Exactly. I mean, we are all things to all people. And so getting on Splatoon, I mean, what did you take away from what little treehouse you did see and what you have seen of Splatoon?
I mean, I saw 5 or 10 minutes of the treehouse thing after the direct.
I think that's enough to get a fair idea of what that game is.
It's a decent assessment of it, but then there was that, plus Pro Jared has also come out with a few videos on it. He's got.
Who is Pro Jared? You'll have to tell me.
Pro Jared
I don't do YouTube.
Is a YouTube, pretty much a reviewer.
Right.
He does some video game reviews. He's a big Nintendo fan.
Independent guy?
I believe he's independent.
Okay.
He might be backed by another company, because YouTube is very weird with how
very big. It's kind of a big thing.
There's a lot of hush-hush with YouTube stuff.
And who gets what and where.
Yeah, the algorithm's weird. The NDAs are very all over the place.
Yeah, because from my understanding, the few people I've actually talked to in the industry, and it's very few people, is that to receive a game from a company, you kind of have to agree to certain terms in an NDA that you can't talk about it before X date, and all reviews tend to hit at the same time. So we know that for sure. It's not something we need to get embroiled in.
Generally, like for everything that reviewers get, even like computer hardware and stuff.
I'd be interested in looking into like the relationship between the developer, publisher, and like the bigger YouTube stars.
Well, I meant NDA is more in like when they sign and monetize their channel.
Oh, you're talking about with the company that
they literally can't talk about how much they make.
Right. Yeah.
And that's there's that plus
everything
else that goes along.
Of course, because people are and on top of the fact, even if they could speak about it, there's not many people who are very open with how much they make, because
which is really weird to me, because you're in completely different industries. But I think with YouTube, it's more they don't want to talk about it because people resent them, and that's not like a terrible thing. It's just. I don't know how to explain it.
Fair enough. Okay, so
Tim's over here fucking me.
I was grabbing my phone because we need to.
I had no idea what was going on, so I'm just like
I was doing the rolling sign. This is our first thing. We don't really understand we're gonna have to get together and create an entire flow chart of our hand signals.
Recall we Googled how to podcast.
Yes, and we are currently podcasting. We went from okay. In full disclosure, we have been talking about doing this podcast for roughly a year and a half. A year and a half and some pocket change. And it's an idea we floated around back and forth, and it really never took off on the ground. We were always on the ground, kind of flapping our wings, saying, hey, we'd love to do this.
We're on a second floor right now, so I don't know.
We're flying right now, baby. We're flying. We are high as a kite, as the 70s reference goes.
Are you sharing? I mean,
no.
I
am super sober on this wonderful Ranger Creek Texas Bourbon Barrel beer. Pick it up at your local whatever place.
Your local Pinkies.
I really wish on our first podcast we could be just like, we have sponsors because we're just that good.
Sponsored by Wendy's.
Somebody in the room, somebody like in the next apartment was like, hey, I heard you guys podcasting. Excellent. I would like to give you 7,000 monies to Patreon.
Monies. Here's your Patreon that we don't have. But I'm not even sure what Patreon is right now.
Yeah, I'm still confused at what that is. Apparently it's like a constant Kickstarter. Like you're like you pay a monthly fee to enjoy content from somebody.
Do you get early access? Because apparently Vestal is a new thing that's
You do. You get early access because I know like Kind of Funny Games, which is kind of the group of Colin Moriarty and company that left IGN, and they started making enough Patreon money to basically have their own channel, which is great. I'm all for people going independent, and I would like to say for the record, we are completely independent and have no plans of making any money whatsoever.
I have negative $10,000. Please pay me.
We'll be opening a Patreon ASAP.
Right now. Kim, get on it.
I'm actually just on the computer right now doing that. That's why I went away for a second. But no, we're doing this from the bottom of our hearts. This is just something we want to do. We love gaming, and we decided we really just wanted to stop playing games and start talking about them like professionals.
Fuck it, let's play.
Which I actually really want to do because I watched about 4 hours of Axiom Verge, and we'll get to that here in a little bit. But we're still on this Splatoon thing that we seem to keep getting off on tangents about.
Too many tangents. I'm stuck on math, people. This is what happens here.
Yeah,
when you're in calculus, everything's tangential.
Yeah, he's in calculus 3, by the way, which I thought it only went to 2.
No, I'm in calculus 1. I gotta go to calculus 3.
Eventually.
It hurts.
My bad. I thought there was only 2 calculi.
Calculuses.
Calculuses.
Is it Greek? I don't know. Who cares?
It's foreign, and as an American, I have the right to not care. So I'm gonna go ahead and exercise that right. And
any viewers we could have had gone.
as an American, I would also like to say Splatoon looks great. And
as a white American, I'd like to apologize for anyone we've offended. But I just don't
really
care.
To just wrap up Splatoon in a really nice bow is that it's very vibrant, and I think it has the opportunity and the chance to really kind of change the landscape of how we view ultra violence in first person shooters and third person shooters. I honestly believe it has that chance, and I hope it succeeds. And I'm of course I'm going to buy it. And we were talking about the Direct, and there were a few other things on there that I'm a huge fan of. And one thing I'm really interested to see coming up, and I'm surprised it's being pushed out so far. I figured it was going to be a more spring release, like when the Direct came on. I kind of expected them to say Mario Maker was coming out within the next month or two.
When does it come out? Because I saw it like the hour after you posted that the Direct was on, and I went straight to it.
It is not coming out, from my understanding, until later this year, which in Nintendo terms I believe means from September to November.
So fourth quarter.
Yeah, we're talking late third, not even late third, probably early fourth to
early fourth quarter.
Yeah, and this is a game that they've been showing for a while. And what really got me excited was that they finally announced that they're going to allow you to upload your levels. This is something they hadn't announced before.
See, no, that was something they unannounced, where you assumed you would be able to do user uploads.
But they said that
they're like, no, we can't do that.
Yeah, Nintendo is tight-lipped. They're not going to tell you what it can and can't do until they're sure they can do it.
And you assumed that this was something that was going to happen. And when they say no, it's severely disappointing, and you're kind of like, well, no, I'm not going to buy Mario Maker. What's the point?
Like, deep in the well of your soul, you wanted to be able to make your own levels and upload them, because this is kind of your way of going back and being like, I'm a developer.
Well, it's not even the developer thing. It's that I know some people are way better at designing things than I am.
Absolutely.
And I want those levels.
Right.
Because sometimes they have a different spin on them than the Nintendo crew does. Whoever it is that makes Mario now. I don't know if it's the same team. I assume it's not.
From my understanding, it is still what is technically considered EAD1 development, which is their main studio for Mario games. And I believe it's pretty much been Team EAD pretty much from like Super Mario World on. Like I don't get into the nitty gritty of who designs what.
Yeah.
But I believe it's still Nintendo EAD.
Yeah, I don't really get into that either.
Yeah, because like
it's like, well, who made it?
Right.
Who's the main guy? It's like I don't care.
In the same vein that I love music and I will actively go out and search for bands I like,
but you don't go through like who was producing it.
I don't know who the drummer of X band is.
I know a few bands, like
right.
Is, but it's because I really like
the same way I know a few developers.
Yeah,
like the ones that I absolutely.
Well, it's the ones that have been shoved in your face and down your throat every year.
Well, there has
like Hideo Kojima is leaving Konami, and it's like, that's cool.
And isn't that a crazy thing? Is he or isn't he? Is he still part of the company? Is he not? Like, because once you get rid of Hideo Kojima, what do you have left? You don't even have Castlevania anymore. You haven't made a good Castlevania game in
like 5 years.
8 years. It's been like 8
since the last 3DS or
the DS game. Yeah, because that 3DS game was a pile of hot garbage.
They didn't have a 3DS game. Didn't happen.
There's very few games that I give the title hot garbage to, like landfills.
I saw that it was going to be a 2D game, and then it was like a 2.5D side scroller, and I lost interest.
To be fair, I never played it, but I don't need to, because when has there been a good 3D Castlevania game? When? In what era?
None of the N64 one.
The only
Castlevania 64.
The only way I can imagine there being a good 64 game is if somebody from the future traveled back to now, and in 100 years they finally made a good 3D.
Even Super Mario 64 is still kind of ass. The only reason it's good, but how it controls is really wonky.
Well, the weird thing about Super Mario 64 is that entire controller was designed around playing just that game. Like, you have the camera controls, and the game has the direct interface of the camera controls.
The analogs.
The Laticu?
Latiku.
Yeah, Latiku, the cloud dude. And he's controlling the camera. And I thought that was really ingenious in a way to have the player be involved in the game. Like, you're just filming the interaction.
Well, yeah, and it was a perspective thing because the 3D had never been done before.
Well, so, it had, but
not in that sense where you were like a third-person 3D game where you have control over the camera.
Right. I mean,
so it gives you the player that
right.
feeling like I can see like it's a camera.
Yeah.
So let me move it this way so I can see over here.
There had been plenty of 3D PlayStation 1 games, but none of those games either A, hold up well, or B, control anywhere near the preciseness that Super Mario 64 did.
It's precise, but it's also imprecise at the same time.
It never feels floaty, though. You always feel like...
No, it's very solid, but there's some points where you're like, why isn't it doing what I want it to do?
Right. And the wing cap is a perfect example of this. You never know where you're going with the wing cap.
No, the wing cap has specific things involved with it.
Right.
And it's very hard to explain. It's one of those feel things. Like, you go up and down and you lose a little bit of altitude.
Right.
And up and down. Yeah. Lose a little bit more altitude.
Right.
But it's one of those like square root type of
equations. Yeah, there's plenty of mathematics behind the games that I will never actually understand. Yeah, chart graph, like charts. But speaking about Mario Maker is that, I thought it's really great how they're actually incorporating the different eras of Mario. You have your 8-bit, 16-bit, and
well, that's how they revealed it.
64-bit, like...
Did they do a 3D plane Mario, or you mean?
Well, it's
like
2.5.
New Super Mario.
2.5. It gives depth.
Okay,
to
so you mean the new Super Mario Brothers?
Yeah, new Super Mario. Yeah. And I thought that was ingenious. Like, and you can do that at the flick of a switch. You can switch between them. That's
because
amazing.
All it is texture change.
Yeah.
You just press
the
textures.
But on the fly, though, that's amazing. From a gamer standpoint, not understanding actual dev process, that seems amazing. That seems like magic. That seems like everybody at Nintendo is literally a wizard.
Well, they are.
Of course, yeah.
So you blind or not?
That was never in question. But no, that game is not coming out. Like, I thought it was going to be like a release where they, because Nintendo with Directs have this concept where they come on and they're like, this game's available now.
This game's available, I don't know when.
Yeah, that's...
Eventually.
I mean, that's what Zelda is now. It's a shoulder shrug.
It's coming out.
Zelda is a shoulder shrug.
Here's Hyrule Warriors, whatever.
Yeah. Like,
nobody likes it.
Well, it has its fans, but I'd hope not many. Like,
it's not good.
It's
a time waster.
Yeah, it's Dynasty Warriors with a new skin, but that's what.
But that's Dynasty Warriors. Yeah. Dynasty Warriors is just Dynasty Warriors with a new skin.
I do find like Nintendo's had this habit lately to extend a branch to these other developers to take some of their core characters and make their own games with it. Because, I mean, let's look at Other M, something that we're real contentious about.
Well, not we as in you and I, but gamers in general.
Well, the collective we think that you and I, we believe it's a passable game that does have a lot of fun in it, but it's not a cohesive Metroid story.
I mean, as far as gameplay, it's enjoyable. But,
because
as far as a Metroid game,
it's bad.
It's not very good. It doesn't hold up to the previous games. But then you could say the same thing about Corruption, because Corruption tried to do all these new things as well. Because it introduced vocals, and I don't believe Selma's talked in that game.
No, I
I'm
believe.
almost positive she.
I also believe. I think she did not.
It was just one of those like generic Nintendo protagonist.
Well, Nintendo has always loved the idea of you being that character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. It's like Twilight. Shit. No more Nintendo. We're done.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, the Nintendo Direct was good, but it needed more for a company that is where it's at right now.
I mean, half of the Direct that I saw was like a game coming out in a year and a half.
Yeah, and I don't know if the Wii U has that shelf life left in it.
Well, then now all the little companies, the auxiliary companies are announcing Nintendo NX coming out now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, no, nobody even knows. Like, I do find that weird that's still a concept, but yet they still were brazen in announcing it. And I know that's to appease shareholders and stuff,
Well,
but it was a public statement. It was a public statement.
It's not so much that, like, Nintendo always announces, most companies always announce consoles like a year and a half or 2 years in advance.
But they generally wait until E3 and they have something to show for it.
No, they don't. They don't tend to wait till E3 because they just say things kind of leak.
Right.
And everything in the game industry is a leak.
Right. Intentional leak. Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like, nobody really waits till E3. They're just like, I got this thing coming out.
Psst, 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 psst. Hey,
let me tell you about this.
I got this new hot thing on the street. You want to take a peek?
It's called Hotline Miami 2.
Hey, why don't you come over here? I got something in my trench coat.
What are you buying?
It's the Xbox 720.
360 no scope.
Okay, so basically to sum up the Direct is that it's not enough to really give anybody... Nobody believes in that console anymore. Nobody.
The Wii U or the NX?
The Wii U.
The non-released, week-old console
Nobody
idea.
believes in that. No trust in that NX.
Well, and they're saying they're doing something revolutionary with it. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
They
always say
motion
that.
control.
Yeah. You did the gamepad, which you've failed to actually use for any game on any inventive level. Like, where's my... Despite the fact that I don't play pen and paper RPG, where's the pen and paper RPG clone on the Nintendo? Where's where the dungeon master sits with a gamepad and makes
the idea that everybody had, like, you could have a dungeon master and you're forward guys.
Where's that game though?
And then you have the Smash Bros. You can play 8 players on. Like, you could have the main dungeon master and it's like 7 other people.
Yeah.
Instead of like 3 other people, where it's like it's kind of meh. But like you could have 3, 4 to 7 people.
And for the record, I'm not one of these people, and I certainly never want to be one of these people saying like, well, Nintendo should just go third party. Let's just not have that conversation ever. I don't want Nintendo to be third party.
Third party games, but
no, third party,
like switching like Sega did.
Yeah.
Issuing all first party hardware and software.
I want them to make hardware.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, we need Nintendo to... It's like a checks and balance thing.
Right.
Because...
Whoa. Your games are getting too ultra-violent. We need a little cutesy. We need Captain Toad's Treasure Checker. We need that game.
We just don't need it for $40.
I loved it. It was one of my favorite games of 2014.
For me, it's not worth $40.
That's fair. You're a college student. I'm an adult man, baby.
I'm broke.
Yeah. For me, it was worth every penny. It was one of my favorite games of 2014.
Yeah, no, if I had money to throw at it,
right,
I wouldn't think about it.
I think, despite the fact that I think it was worth $40, I think they should have priced it at about $30. I think it should have been a $30 game.
30 to 20.
Yeah.
Because it's short. It's very, very short.
But it has artificial inflation in length when you can go back to each level and find everything.
I mean, you can do that. You can say that about literally almost every game.
No, you can't say that about the Order. Oh. No.
Nobody says that about the Order. They're like, I shouldn't have bought this.
Yeah,
at all.
Nobody says anything about the Order. For a man who sat down and played that in one playthrough,
which is unfortunate because
it is. I wasted so much time.
I sat there for twice as long and not finished the game.
Yeah. But you enjoyed at least half of that.
No, all of it. I enjoyed all of it. And then I stopped and got up and went to the store at 4 in the morning and bought ingredients for lasagna.
There's very few games where I think I'm actively nauseous during playing it. And I wasn't even drinking. I was just actively nauseous playing it.
And I'm like, let me do this, or I can't do it.
Like I was telling, like I was saying, is that if you can't improve on a cover mechanic that's 10 years old, you need to not make that mechanic.
Well, yeah, that's what we were talking about earlier, is the Order introduced, or it didn't introduce, that they just brought back chest-high walls.
Yeah, high walls.
The Gears of War it had.
And the cover shooter still does that thing of, like, you're in this wide open space, and you're walking through it, and then you start seeing cover, and you're like, oh, I'm about to get in a firefight.
Guess I should sit here and check out what's going on.
Guess I should peek over every once in a while. But, The Order will take an entire podcast that no one would be interested in, so we're not going to get on that.
I haven't touched it. All I've heard is just bad things about it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's no point. Why would I even try?
Normally, as you know, as my age dictates, having adult, not problems, but priorities, and an actual job that, you know, that I work more than 40 hours at most of the time. If you're going to take 6 hours of my time or 12 hours of my time, at least respect the time. Respect the time I'm invested in it.
Well, yeah, like have it be worth the 6 hours.
Yeah,
instead of
it's not even the value equals worth debate. It's not. I don't want to frame it in the way that like a game that 3 hours should be $15 and a game that's 30 hours should be $60. Like
it should be an equivalent like
of enjoyment. Like if I enjoyed your 3 hours, like Axiom Verge, I think I paid $17 for, and we've already gotten more enjoyment out of that game.
I got it for free.
Exactly. What I'm saying is that that's a $17 game that I think holds more value than The Order does.
Oh, it's way better because we both love like Metroid style titles.
Yeah.
And
it's in our wheelhouse. It is our wheelhouse. It is the thing we do most.
It's just good.
It's so good. It's almost I would say in the modern gaming climate, other than Bloodborne, it's a game that's almost too good for what else is out there.
Well, you know what's ironic is I started playing Axiom Verge and I started on hard mode because that's just what I do half the time.
And I spoke. I think I went on a 20-minute diatribe about how you shouldn't do that.
And I was thinking like, that's fine, I got this. And then 20 minutes in, I'm like, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. But you stuck with it.
But no, I'm sticking with it, and it's been like 5 hours, and I've only gotten like 5%.
No, you have more than a 5-hour playthrough so far. I think you're at 6,
5 or 6.
Yeah, 6.5 maybe.
Regardless, better than The Order.
Yeah.
But no, you go through that, and then you play something that's easier. But then I think about like Bloodborne or Dark Souls, and I haven't touched any of those games. And it's like those games are supposed to be hard.
You played Dark Souls?
No,
I thought you'd at least play Dark Souls.
Them. No, I haven't yet. They're on PC though, aren't they?
Yeah.
I really should pick those up.
Demon Souls, which is the first in the Souls lineage, but it is a PS3 only game because I believe Sony put a little money into it because I believe they were actually the publisher on it.
I mean, Resident Evil 4 wasn't GameCube only for like a year and a half.
Yeah,
even though
I remember that era well because I think that's when I first was cognitive of how weird this industry is. Capcom coming out and honestly saying like, okay, we have 4 games coming out for the GameCube that are only ever going to be for the GameCube, and I believe,
and then they're not.
Yeah, it was Killer 7, Beautiful Joe, Resident Evil.
It wasn't.
I don't remember. I've never remembered the 4th.
Oh,
it doesn't matter. But yeah, that was the first moment where I realized like this industry is weird. It's just weird. Like even if you keep up with it, you never know what's going on.
I mean, somebody always does something really odd.
And from just a normal, everyday, common man perspective, it really honestly seems like there's a whole lot of backhanded stuff that happens.
They're like, hey, contracts out.
Yeah. Everybody
send it out.
Yeah, everybody is a dual wielding rogue. It's just like, what backs can I lunge into? Yeah. And that was the first moment where I was aware of how weird the game industry was because I bought a GameCube. I love the GameCube. It's actually probably my second favorite console of all time because it has its library is amazing. It's just quality.
You have Killer 7, Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, Beautiful Joe. There's Resident Evil 4.
You have Paper Mario 1,000 Year Door.
Paper Mario, yeah. Oh man.
And you also have Ikaruga, which was originally released in Japan only on Dreamcast, but it actually released in the States on the GameCube. And then you just you had third party support too. Like that was the last console that had
like of the top games.
Yeah.
For the console.
Yeah, and it is a wonderful, wonderful console that was the last
Melee.
Yeah, it was the last great console Nintendo actually put out. But yeah, just yeah. I mean, since we've already been speaking about it, we might as well just get into like what we've been playing. And I'd like to go ahead and just start it off with like Bloodborne. My
You've been
God.
playing quite a bit of Bloodborne.
Yeah, I've put about 12 hours into that game. I will say that about 8 hours of that was probably just like back grinding, trying to get levels because my
What
skill.
do I do?
Yeah, my skill isn't really that high, but I love these games. I like the old world feel. I like a game that's challenging, but not back-breakingly challenging because those games just don't exist anymore. But these are the hardest games probably out. And have been for quite a while. And I mean, it's really the first game I've looked at and I was like, oh yeah, this is what current gen offers. This is what they promise with next gen. I haven't gotten into the online stuff, but just playing offline has been a wonderful experience. The boss design, the aesthetics, and just the design behind it is I don't even know how to describe it. It's better than anything out there boss wise.
I mean, the boss design was like we were talking about. It's very Lovecraftian.
Oh yeah, like when I was walking up to what was that last boss that I beat?
Viscera Amelia.
Yeah, and there's not gonna be much spoilers here, so don't worry about it too much.
I mean, it's like 5th level boss.
Yeah, it's early game boss if you're actually a good player, which I'm not. But walking up to it, it seems like there are statues of Cthulhu right there.
Yeah, they're very just either Lovecraftian or like H.R. Giger stuff.
H.R. Geiger, you mean?
I don't even know anymore.
Such a debate. I mean, that name has been debated since Roman times in the Colosseum. It wasn't settled then. It'll never be settled now.
Pretty sure the Colosseum settled down now.
They don't still do battles in the Colosseum?
Oh, let's go check. Be right back, folks.
But yeah, Bloodborne is just it's a Souls game. I mean, it might as well just be called Blood Souls. It is a Souls game. They replace Souls with Blood Echoes. It's the same currency.
There's still flames you light, coast save things.
You still have a torch that you can get through dark areas with. There's still an altar overworld that you go to level up and buy things and sell things. But it's just a great game. The things that are negative about it are things that are tolerable within my level of tolerances for games. The loading time is excruciating sometimes.
Loading times have never been a thing for me. I'm just like, cool, it's a time to vape.
Right?
Take a drink, whatever, go pee, I don't know.
And especially with these 45-second load times on Bloodborne, you can bake a cake. I mean, you can just do what you want.
Yeah.
And I've baked several cakes. My baking expertise has just gone +10, so pretty pro at it these days.
Cutting that from the podcast, Barry.
But it's just Bloodborne itself is the culmination of doing those games for so long. It is the perfect representation. Like, it's accessible, but yet harder than the other Souls games. It's accessible in the sense that it's a faster paced combat system. You're all offense all the time.
Yeah, for things that are slower paced, I tend to get screwed up on.
Yeah.
Because the pacing is even more important.
Right.
When things are faster paced, you can kind of button mash and get away with some things.
With the Souls games, it's super hard to button mash and get your way through. Like, it's a game that honestly just tells you straight up. It's like, the time you put in is the time you get back in this game.
I mean, it's like when you're watching me play against like level 9 computers in the new Smash Bros.
And getting handed to you.
If you play like Mario or Luigi, you need to take your time.
Yeah.
Like, you need to go a little bit slower and see what they're doing. But if you're doing like a Lucario or like even a Charizard, like, kind of just go at it.
Right. Oh, and bringing up Charizard actually gets us back to the point that we brought up 40 minutes ago. Amiibo. The thing that needs to be talked about. How Nintendo and its merchandisers have handled this is probably one of the most anti-consumer things I have ever seen in the history of gaming merchandise.
I'm almost positive we talked about this at the very beginning and then went straight on an hour-long diatribe of different things.
Yeah, but I mean, okay. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and take a little break. Anyways, speaking about Charizard, he happens to be one of the Wave 4 amiibos. And it's one of the topics that I've been wanting to talk to you about all day, but I figured we might as well get it out here because you know nothing about amiibos, essentially.
There's an NFC chip and a piece of plastic.
A really nice looking piece of plastic that apparently everybody in the world wants. Namely, scalpers. That's a lovely topic, isn't it?
I've not heard of it. So we're hearing it for the first time here, folks.
Breaking news. Anyways, what it essentially is that, okay, Wave 4 just went up for pre-orders. GameStop released a tweet stating that pre-orders for Wave 4 would go up at an X amount of time. A little bit before that, they then kind of backpedaled on that, stating that they would be opening up in-store pre-orders. When people say pre-orders, people assume I can order it online.
In-store, online, through the phone, whatever.
Yeah, send a telegraph, send a Dove, whatever. You can order it any way you want.
Yeah.
And so they announced that they were doing in-store orders, and they would essentially take precedence over it.
I mean, they take presidents too.
Yeah, they love presidents. I mean,
especially Franklin.
I'm pretty
old president.
I'm pretty sure Obama got all the pre-orders. Pretty sure. And so everybody is, from the Reddit post that I've seen, from the Penny Arcade that I'm a member of, everything that I saw, that essentially every GameStop in the United States pretty much had 30 to infinity people lining up to do these in-store pre-orders. And since they were doing it at a specific time, once they opened that up, it crashed their entire point of sale system to where you could pre-order in-store. So people weren't getting pre-orders, and there was clearly demand, seeing as they just released the tweet like the night before. Mm. So clearly the internet is the internet, and it goes crazy. And so in every store across the country, essentially, you have 30 to infinity people lining up for this, and crashes their system. They never even open up online pre-orders because everything sells out.
Wow.
A few hours later, GameStop has reserve stock, yeah. And so they open up a few online pre-orders, I believe. Those sell out within 5 minutes. GameStop is done with their pre-orders. Toys R Us opens up their pre-orders. Everything sells out. Best Buy, sold out everywhere. Amazon is still, from my understanding, as of right now, which is 5:03 in the AM Central Time on April 5th, Sunday.
It's 5.
It is 5 in the morning. We've been doing this for a while.
We fucked up.
Inaugural podcast celebration. And so pre-orders are absolutely sold out everywhere. And I don't know where the problem comes up, if it's Nintendo not understanding demand, despite the fact that they've already had 3 waves before this, knowing that demand is there.
I mean, they should know. With 3 under their belt, you would assume that they know.
Or it's them artificially straining supply so that demand is increased. You know, that age-old capitalist tactic.
Yeah.
So clearly there is a problem somewhere in the chain to where the people who are still diehard Nintendo fans are not getting the product that they would like, because for all the waves before this, they didn't have like limit quantity 1. So people were ordering 20, 30 and then putting them all on eBay. Yeah. Like the price of an amiibo is $12.99 American,
which is pretty easy to grab. Like you can grab 30 of them, you spend $500,
and your profit is 1,000 times that,
because you're selling them for $50.
Oh no, some of those amiibos go for 80.
Really?
Wii Fit Trainer and the Villager are both up in the 80s.
Wow.
It's
they were first wave.
Yeah. But anyways, almost the more popular characters in this wave is Lucina, Robin, which are Fire Emblem characters. Yeah. And we also have Wario, Pac-Man, Charizard, and what's the other one? Ness from Earthbound.
Ness, really? I think they announced Lucas actually.
No,
recently.
Yeah, they announced Lucas as a playable character. Yeah, but not as an amiibo.
I'm sure he'll be around.
Oh, yeah.
Last wave, I'm sure.
And the problem is that some of these are store exclusives, meaning Toys R Us gets this, GameStop gets this.
Yeah.
I mean, that automatically tightens the market on that figure. And the people who happen to get that amiibo can charge whatever they want. The same with Walmart had an exclusive amiibo, the Golden Mario, and they released it, I believe, 2 weeks ago, and it sold out the same. I mean, it sold gangbusters. And
I mean, is it the same? I'm just assuming it's the same chip as the regular Mario.
It is. It's just
different.
It's just gold.
Yeah.
But of course, anytime you attach store exclusive to a Nintendo product,
exclusive plus
right,
limited edition color.
Yeah, I mean, this goes back to the supply constraints of the Majora's Mask 3DS and the limited edition. I managed to luckily snag the Majora's Mask limited edition skull statue, but the Skull Kid, and I believe the actual 3DS model sold out within 5-10 minutes.
Something like that. It was around 5 minutes.
So I absolutely don't know where to lay blame. I don't know if we're supposed to put it at Nintendo's feet, the resellers, the poachers of the market, which I absolutely loathe with every part of my being, and would love these people not to do it, but it's going to be done. Every market has these people.
A little bit of every column, really.
And Nintendo, I mean, they announced about a month ago that they had sold something to the tune of 3 to 4 million amiibo sales. So
3 to 4 million amiibo?
Yeah, that's better than almost any game on the Wii U.
I think it is.
And so, from your perspective of never hearing this before, because you don't really follow this type of news, I mean, what do you think? Like, I mean, hearing all that news is like, what do you think? Could anything be done to make it better? Because from my perspective, getting rid of these store exclusives would be number one.
I mean, I don't see what the reason is they have store exclusives to begin with. Because either way, they're going to sell. There's no reason they need them to be in the stores unless they have some kind of, backwards deal with each of these stores that says, we'll give you this if you keep stocking our product.
I think the reason
if they go back on that, they don't stock the product anymore.
Right. I think what it is they want to appease these resellers, the GameStops, Best Buys, et cetera, but I also think it's because they want to induce a War of the Worlds radio broadcast level of fervor and panic.
I mean, the alleged.
The alleged. Because, I mean, we weren't part of that time, so we don't know how the actual response to Wells is.
As far as I understand, that it wasn't an actual panic.
Everybody died. Everybody died.
We're all dead. We're ghosts.
I mean, granted, some of it was probably a hyperbolic response, but I'm pretty sure everybody died, and we're living in some Matrix alternate.
Y'all remember the nuclear attack? Anyone around for that?
We are playing Fallout 3.
We are nuclear attacks.
But I mean, just like you're somebody who doesn't have your ear to the ground about these like peripherals. That's what they are. They're peripherals.
Well, I'm just busy. Like I'm not. I don't have my nose in all of this shit. Like I don't care what this company is doing with this company and how Toys R Us and GameStop really care about their stock.
Right.
Like that's fuck them. I don't care.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly the how these companies feel about the people who buy their products. It's like, fuck them, we're getting it. We're getting ours either way.
We'll do it live.
Yeah, we're getting ours either way. They're getting their money.
Yeah.
Nintendo's getting their money. But I would like to see Nintendo as a company that I grew up with. Whether it was false idealism or not, I kind of treated them as the bastion of like fan and consumer integrity, yeah, responsibility even. And these recent actions seems like it's a company, especially NOA, Nintendo of America, has it's a company that feels like they've shit the bed and aren't willing to say that they're sorry for it.
I mean, yes, but when you really boil it down to like the bare essentials of everything,
money.
Yeah, it's a company. It's a business. It's all about the money.
Yeah, they're supposed to make the money, but isn't there some fine line that they can walk between making money and making their customers happy? Because nobody's happy about how they're doing Amiibo.
I mean, yes, but Amiibo in and of itself is kind of asinine.
Yeah, I mean,
the whole chip thing, when it took off with Skylanders, it was just like, why? You have one specific game versus what Nintendo's been doing with, you could use these for multiple games. Plus, they have the thing coming out for
Disney.
Well, no, they have that. That's been out for quite a while now. Disney Infinity, which came after the Skylanders. And they have Amiibo stuff, which is being transferred to cards as well for the new Animal Crossing.
Right.
Plus, they have the same day release for the original DS stuff for the transfer stuff for the original 3DS stuff.
I mean, when you get down to the nitty gritty, when you strip it all away, what you're really looking at is physical DLC. It's physical DLC. So Nintendo as a company that's pretty much been a bastion of like no backhanded DLC
but their
is
DLC
now
hasn't been backhanded. Neither is this backhanded.
There's some backhanded DLC out there.
Not that no, but not Nintendo's.
Right, that's what I'm
really
saying.
Hasn't been. Everything else,
but
microtransactions and all that, has been really heavy-handed and backhanded.
Right. But this is their way to enter into the arena DLC under the guise of a collectible figurine.
It's both. Why can't it be both?
But it is both. But that means half of it is a shitty idea, I think.
But it is. It is a shitty idea. Because Skylanders is a shitty idea to begin with. Because somebody throws all this
come
money
on.
at it.
I mean, we're two people who don't have kids, but there are plenty of parental units that game. And it's a great idea for them. Because it involves the entire family. I mean, it's something both the parents and the kids can do together. I think that's kind of cool on some level.
You mean Pokemon?
I don't play those games, so I wouldn't know.
Pokemon.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. I mean, it's the fervor of catching them all, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, but so is anything where you have a collection.
Right.
Like a semi-finite number of things to have. I mean, it's any collection you could really cover.
Right. And, I mean, it's such a wide-ranging topic, especially just like the moves Nintendo is making Retro as a studio hasn't announced a game since Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. I mean, you would think that at least at this period in the Wii U's life cycle, they'd at least say what they're working on. I mean, and we all hope it's a Metroid game.
Because each generation you have at least one Metroid game for each console.
Generally, yes.
Because I can't think of a console we didn't have a Metroid game on other than N64.
That console didn't have a lot of things that it needed, but
because it was a new console. It was a new dimension.
Well, it was the death of the cartridge. The N64 was the swan song that wasn't really that great of a cartridge.
Well, yeah, and then you had the Dreamcast that got beaten out by the PS2 soon after.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Dreamcast. Rest in peace.
Before your time.
Way before your time.
And the PS2 just chugged along for another 10 years.
It's still chugging along in some second and third world countries. It's still something you can buy on the shelf.
Not as far as like new titles go.
Right, yeah. It's something you can still purchase. I mean, it is a very competent DVD player.
Yeah, that was the thing. Like, the PlayStation 2 and the PS3 were both media players.
Right, yeah, the
they
PS3
were the
with its
cheapest
Blu-ray
media players you could buy at the time.
The PS3 Blu-ray was unlike every other Blu-ray on the market, was an upgradable Blu-ray player. You know, because your PS3 is already hooked up to the internet. It already is. I mean, because I can't cite percentages, but I imagine the vast majority of PS3s or Xbox 360s or any modern consoles are hooked up to the internet. And I understand that you know, of course, there are military servicemen, of course, that take their consoles with them and they don't have access. But the majority of them do have access. And
even when they're overseas, some of them do still have access.
Yeah. So the majority are connected, and Sony was brilliant in including brand new media formats. I mean, the DVD was a fairly brand new concept during that period.
Well, yeah, like for the consoles that were out at the time,
right?
But then we had the Blu-ray versus HD.
Yeah, and that battle was decided real quick by, as everybody knows, the porn industry. The porn industry decides what media format to use.
It was even just that, but partly the name.
Right.
Because Blu-ray sounds so much more badass than HD DVD. There's too many Ds. There's too many of that inflection in there.
Right.
That just really doesn't work for people. Like Blu-ray.
Yeah, it's
rolls off better.
It's all about the syllabic count, isn't it?
It really is. No, like that kind of really makes a big difference.
Well, and I mean, and the Blu-ray format was backed by Sony, one of the largest manufacturers of physical media.
Because they have a lot of stock in physical media.
They really
make
do.
CDs, DVDs, and Blu-rays.
Exactly. And I mean, just every console is hooked up to the internet, and that was the great thing about the Blu-ray. It was upgradable. I mean, at the start, it didn't have 3D access.
Well, the Blu-ray on the PS3,
right? It didn't have 3D access, but it was upgraded to have 3D.
You can patch it because there's a processor and a hard drive and all that,
right?
To actually drive all that. Other than like my Blu-ray player that I have has 3D capability.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. It just does. Because when I was looking for a Blu-ray player, I was looking for something that had Wi-Fi and like Hulu, Netflix, and all that stuff on it.
You're looking for the all-in-one minus what the Xbox One offers, which
for a third of the price,
right? Yeah,
like, and I can play Blu-ray on it, which
right?
You can't do on the Xbox.
Mm-hmm. Well, you can do it on the Xbox One now.
Right? But it's like $400.
It's a generation too late, I think, for that.
I mean, I got this years ago.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about the cloud and other buzzwords and just having digital media.
Picture, which is like the only thing the Xbox One has going for it.
Right? Like everything's a digital media now, and you know, as a person who has played games for so very long, it feels like it's in its last death throes of physical media. Like, I'm going to miss the day where I go
and pop a disc in, or a cartridge, and here's your game. It's there forever, basically.
Yeah, and the infrastructure of America is not set up for people downloading 30 and 40 gig games.
Not America, no.
Yeah. Other countries, of course, yes.
I mean, what games really now are like 30 and 40 gigs?
Every single game on the PS4 and the Xbox One.
I mean, I don't know what the deal is that they have going on, because, I mean, even a couple of years ago, some of those games are still only like 10, 15 gigs.
Right.
And then all of a sudden now like 40 gigs. And it's like, I don't have room for this. Mm-hmm. I have a few terabytes, but it's still like, that's a lot of space for one game.
So, okay, wrapping this all up, we've covered a really vast array of topic, everywhere from Omar Epps to
possibly his name is Mario.
It's Mario Epps. And I mean, we've talked about like where we've come from. We've given kind of broad strokes here because this is absolutely the first time both of us have ever done this.
Drink Game Drunk.
Yeah, Drink Game Drunk. That's what we are, and we have done this completely non-sober. So what we're after everything that we've talked about, we want this to be something, and we're going.
I don't care if anything happens.
what what we want this to be is just it's a forum for two people from their mid-20s to their 30s to talk about games in all forms. We want it to be about old games. Both of us probably refuse to call them retro games because they're still very much a part of our lives.
You're talking about like Super Metroid?
Yes, very much.
It's not retro. It's right now. It's happening.
It's right now. It's actually paused right now.
Future.
It's actually paused right now, I think. Well, Metroid Fusion is paused.
No, I turned it off.
Do we have anything loaded over there?
No.
Yeah, we were trying to play Truxton on the Genesis, but I didn't.
Oh no, wait, the PS4 is still on.
Yeah, of course, the PS4 stays on for infinity. But yeah, I mean, we really just want this to be something to where it's two people way past their prime already, venting about video games as a whole. From Ryan's side, probably more about
speak for yourself there on the prime thing.
You know, Ryan's side will be more about Steam, and we're really going to try to like buckle down, and we're going to try to get some not necessarily let's plays, but let's get drunk and try to play games. We're looking into getting, I believe it's called an Elgato for some video capturing, playing
some kind of video capture device. If we're on PC, we can just totally use frames.
Right. What I'm actually planning on doing is getting my old JVC video recorder out and just playing and just filming him playing a game from behind him on Steam.
That'll work.
That sounds I mean that's what's in, right? I mean, old school technology.
Face cams, yeah.
Yeah. Like we'll FaceTime some games and stuff like that too.
We won't.
Okay. I was really hoping we did, but yeah, this is just really a place for two people who have always wanted to talk about video games instead of playing them, to sit down and talk at length and go on tangents the entire time because, as I did state, we are always drunk.
Drink game drunk.
Drink game drunk. Just repeat that over and over again.
Just pretend like you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, we're not good with names, so we just kind of pick that because it's the things we do.
The interpretive dance.
The interpretive dance of podcasting based on the movie Airplane.
Based on the novel Push by Sapphire.
Exactly. It's what we do here. We play games, we drink a little bit, and we go video game hunting. So maybe we'll throw a little bit?
Or a lot?
All of it.
All of the drink.
Yeah, I mean...
the game.
Yeah, I mean,
and the drunk.
What we're really hoping to do here is, once a week, I'll sit down about twice a week for 15 to 20 minutes and just rant about whatever game I'm playing, and I'm hoping Ryan will do the same, and we'll get this out there on YouTube, SoundCloud. Donate
to our Patreon.
Yeah,
that we don't have.
That we will probably never have.
We won't.
Yeah,
Patreon's not going to be a thing in a year.
Kickstarter's already on its way out, so we can't even use that. What about GoFundMe? Yeah, what about GoFundMe? That's a big deal right now.
It's going to be right now.
Yeah,
that's the future.
What we're really trying to say is that we're trying to be honest people that want to monetize this in any way possible. So if you want to actually be a sponsor on here, go ahead and just send me a lump sum of cash, and I will do a half-assed job trying to sell your product.
I will do things for money. Literally anything.
He needs it. He's in college right now at a real university.
Please help. We are accredited. I don't know what I'm doing. I owe lots of money to people. Bad people. It's Wells Fargo.
And if you just want to send a care package with maybe some cookies or something, because this man is malnourished. He
maple syrup.
Gangly. He is gangly.
Sugar.
And
anything with fats in it.
For a podcast that literally just started by Googling the term, how do I do a podcast? I'm really hoping you've enjoyed this hour and about 30 minutes of us tangentially reflecting on our own lives in a very sad fashion.
The podcast that was going to be 20 minutes because we didn't think we could fill 45 to 50.
And we literally only had about 4 topics and we managed to do this. So imagine
we didn't even cover those topics.
Yeah, not even remotely. Because guess what? What's the name of this show, Ryan?
Pentatonics.
Come on, we're brainstorming here. No, I think we've pretty much settled on the drink game drunk because the truth is, it's just what happens when we do this.
It's the only way I can be sociable.
And he's done an excellent job, so please donate to that Patreon that doesn't exist.
That we will never have.
Because seriously, we don't want to make money off of this. It's just something we want to do.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, I think I've already...
money.
Yeah, he does need money.
I'm waiting on that FEMA check.
He's been in so many disasters.
A All that Katrina.
Oh, come on.
It's been
dirty.
It's been like 8 years.
Well, I mean, we were affected by it. I mean, we got all the transplants. We got the transplants as Texans.
Not in Midland.
Yeah. No, we did. Those motels.
What, like 2 of them?
Those motels were full up forever.
They're still full up.
You're
going to blame them now?
For a different sad reason. Not a more sad reason.
There's nowhere to live.
Yeah, that's
pretty sad.
But yeah, anyways, this has been Drink Game Drunk, and I'm Tim.
I was Ryan.
And hopefully by the time at the end of this podcast, our friend Damien will have recorded our intro and outro. And I am going to go ahead and give you some of his information. Hopefully you can check him out and check out his music. He's a DJ in the Austin area.
Tim, they can totally just put that in a link in the description in the video.
An hour and a half ago, we just Google searched how to make a podcast.
Making a podcast.
And so anyways, his address that you can check out his awesome music and maybe hire him for a gig or something. Say we hooked you up or something. Is soundcloud.com/livid512. And you can catch us at drinkgamedrunk@gmail.com. And our Twitter handle is drinkgamedrunk, where you will see a terrible picture of me dressed up as a clown when I was about 5 years old. So I never used Twitter, and the Gmail account was activated a year and a half ago when we were real fervent about this.
I don't know what Twitter is.
It's a thing where people say things that nobody cares about.
Like Facebook?
Like all social media.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, then we're done here.
Yeah, we are absolutely done. And this marks our first inaugural celebration of our first podcast.
Seacrest out.
This has been Drink Game Drunk. Enjoy your drinking.